Ciao and welcome to Tortellino time. When I was in Sicily last week, I cooked some spaghetti margherita and I cooked them by complementing them with some aubergines, which is a very typical thing they do in Sicily. At the time I was very impressed by their size. I even held it against my head to give you some proportionality. And here it is. This is the very eggplant that I was showing you during that video. I brought it back to England because I've got a little idea. And as they are so dense, I thought that maybe I could make them as the base for a pizza. So I will be experimenting something new today. Let's see what happens. I've been thinking how to best deal with this, and I will definitely remove the little head first, and I'm using a bread knife. Definitely, it's very good for this job. And this is what I mean about being very dense. If you look, they're lovely and white on the inside, but also very hard, which is great. I'm hoping to get at least 4 or 5 slices out of these aubergines. 4 or 5 mini pizzas, of course. And there it is, it's number 5. I've got 5 plus a little bit left as well, which maybe I'll use as a filling. Another property I did observe in Sicily was how little oil they actually absorbed when I was frying them. So I just put a little oil on both sides so that when I put them in the oven they will turn a little bit brown. And I'm also adding a little salt again on each side to ensure that they sweat a little bit of their water. I've lined up a couple of oven trays with some baking paper so they don't get stuck, and I'll put them in for 20 minutes to start with, 200 degrees. They are quite thick, so they need to cook for a while at a high temperature, and see how it goes. And I'll need them to be partially or almost cooked before I do my pizza. So in the meantime, I'll crack on with some of the other ingredients. I will be doing a vegetarian version and also a meat version today, and at the moment I am slicing a little courgette in little pieces like this. Back to my aubergines, I'm removing now the bits that I don't want, and I'm slicing it in 1/2 centimeter pieces so that they will not take long to cook. A little olive oil in a frying pan, and I'll place the aubergines as I get the feeling they're going to take longer to cook. I will also sprinkle a tiny little amount of salt. I'm making sure that all of the aubergines touch the base so that they all cook at the same time. I give them a little mix and temperature medium-high. The sizzling, I'll place the lid on and I'll leave them now for about 5 minutes. In 5 minutes time I will turn them around and then another 5 minutes and they will be cooked. And I'll do exactly the same with my courgette or zucchini, and I'll put them in a little frying pan. And I'll give them a little mix, and just like with the aubergines, I don't need to show you again, they will cook for approximately 10 minutes. Halfway through, 5 minutes in, I will turn them around and they should be ready more or less at the same time. And while I wait, I've got a little ask, and I hope you don't mind. I've noticed that over 75% of people watching my channel are not subscribed. If you're enjoying the content of what I do, please do subscribe. It's free, it will always be free. I do not sponsor anyone, and I do not have any intentions of doing that either. My passion is cooking, but more importantly, my passion is also to share good eating with the world. So no matter where you are in the world, if you're liking what you're seeing, please do subscribe. The way YouTube works is the more subscriptions and the more engagement, the more comments and likes and shares, the more the system will promote my channel, and that will give me the opportunity to reach more people. I would really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And my eggplants are cooked. If you look, they are lovely and brown, nice and soft, absolutely perfect. So I'll move them onto a dish for the time being while they cool down a little. And likewise, the same applies to my courgette. Look, they are beautiful, lovely and brown as well. You can eat these, by the way, as they are. Just a little olive oil, raw olive oil, salt and pepper. Actually, not much salt because I already put some in. But I would add maybe basil or parsley. They make it an absolutely delicious side dish. But I will move them alongside my aubergines. And I'll just taste one. Lovely, absolutely. They're delicious. Zucchini or courgettes cooked like this, they're absolutely delicious. You can put them on pasta as well, wonderful. And I sprinkle them all with a little parsley. This is frozen from my freezer, but you can also use basil if you like. Perfect. And I'll mix them together so that they marinate nicely while I start with my sausages for the meat version. And the meat version will consist of ham, which is already cooked, so I don't need to do anything to it, and sausages. So I will brown the sausages first. Very simply, I'm just chopping them in approximately 1 centimeter slice each piece. I'll use the same pan I used for the aubergines, but I'm not going to be adding any oil because sausages are quite fat anyway, so they'll be fine. And I'll move them to the hob for maybe 5-7 minutes until they're cooked. And in the meantime, my aubergines are done. They took 25 minutes actually. I checked them after 20 and they could do with an extra 5 minutes to brown a little bit more. And they're ready. I've got the other 3 to come out, but I will leave them out to cool down so that they are easier for me to handle when I put the filling on top. Now, one of the most important ingredients in a pizza is the tomato base. And if you want to replicate an authentic and traditional Italian flavor, just do this. Tin of tomato, plant tomatoes these are, add it to a bowl. This is far simpler than anyone can imagine. A little olive oil, pinch of salt, pepper, oregano. You have to have oregano, otherwise it will not taste like a pizza. And I'm going to put a good pinch. Hand blender, or you can throw everything in a food processor if you like and blend away. And blend until you get a nice smooth paste, almost like passata. You could use passata, by the way. I don't like using passata. I think that the tin tomatoes that you can blend like this, they release a more of an authentic flavor. But if you like passata, by all means use passata. But my recommendation is to use tin tomatoes. And let's try a little. Perfetto. Genuinely, this is how they do it in Italy. I asked the pizzaiolo, the pizza man who makes the pizza once when I was a little boy, and he showed me. It's so simple, and that's why most probably it's so delicious. And my sausages are also done, which means that I am ready to put my aubergine pizzas together next. I've just finished slicing a couple of balls of mozzarella. Ideally, most probably I could have done with using some mozzarella specifically made for pizza, but mozzarella is mozzarella. This is going to be a little bit more watering, but I didn't have any of the other mozzarella, and I think this is perfectly okay. Followed by a few slices of ham, which I'm now slicing in little strips. And I'll start with the vegetarian version. They have cooled down, and as they are cold, they can actually move quite safely as well. And let's start with the tomato sauce. Actually, before I start, let me show you. See, they've actually reduced in size in terms of thickness, which is why I wanted to have them nice and thick, otherwise they'll fall apart. Of course, you can also try this with the long style aubergines. The most important thing, I think, is that you have them nice and thick. So maybe you can make 2 or 3 from each one of those, but definitely worthwhile trying. But I'm going to be very generous with my ingredients today, so a generous amount of sauce goes on. Same applies here, and I'm actually not moving them from the tray. They can stay there because they will have to go back in the oven anyway. If you go to Italy and you watch how they make pizza, they will always start with the tomato followed by the mozzarella, and that is exactly what I'm doing. Courgettes next, no particular order, they can go in the next, followed by some aubergine, which looks absolutely delicious. They're done, and I can move on to the other 3 now, the meat version. There you go. Again, I'm ensuring that they can freely move so that I don't have a problem later. This one looks like it's not being cooked properly, but I've stabbed it with a fork and it's lovely and soft, so it's perfectly okay. Although I will do a few holes, that will help when it cooks again. I've also noticed that there are a few gaps, so I'm going to be pushing them together so that they'll stay in one piece. Perfect, they are done. Mozzarella, as I said, with the vegetarian version is the base of most pizzas, so tomatoes and mozzarella. And I seem to have misplaced my sausages and ham, so I'll start adding them in. The sausages smell wonderful. They're made with chili and fennel, which are some of our favorites. And some ham, of course. There we go. Again, this is going to be our dinner, so I'm going to be very generous with ingredients. I got a few ingredients left over, some aubergines and some sausages. I mentioned that I got some sauce left over as well. I'll make myself a little pasta tomorrow. And they're ready to go in the oven now. And the reason why I cooked the base of my aubergines as long as I did is because I want to treat them just like a pizza. So I'll set the oven on maximum temperature, 220 degrees in my case, and I'll cook them for about 10 minutes. So I'll see you then. And 10 minutes is up. And they are just out of the oven and they look magnificent. Look, there they are. I will leave them to cool down now for a good 10 minutes. Unlike a pizza, where you want to eat it straight out of the oven when it's really, really hot. From experience, I know that aubergines, they taste better when they are cooler. So I will leave them, and then in 10 minutes time, we'll see what we've done. So see you then. I lied, I'm back. I should have said, before I put them in the oven, I had a little mozzarella left, put on top, That's why you can see a little bit of the cheese melted on top. And I'm now adding a little parsley on top so that while they're still hot, the parsley will release some more flavor. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. And 15 minutes on, I got carried away with the washing up. I'm done. I have been removing them using a spatula. They're actually quite easy to do because they're colder. And using a spatula onto a dish ready for my pizza. And also, if you put them in the fridge overnight, they will be even harder in the morning. So you can actually eat them easier because they will not be falling apart. Definitely, the colder the better. Let's test one of the meat ones first. It's absolutely wonderful. I don't need to say anymore, but let me try this one, the vegetarian one. Wonderful also in a different way. The flavor of the courgette is absolutely wonderful as well. I cannot pick one because they're both delicious.
Do you want me to choose?
Julie's arrived. She's always impeccable with the timing. She's actually said to me, "Oh, can we eat? It's only 5 to 4." She said, "I haven't had any lunch," but we will be eating very soon anyway. So as I said before, you can make these with the long ones. Make sure that you do them nice and thick, and aubergine slice, of course. And again, if you like the channel, please support me by subscribing, liking, sharing, blah, blah, blah. Thank you for watching, and if you do make them, I would love to see how you get on and what you think. Arrivederci, ciao, and buon appetito.